Hello everyone, my name is Zuher and you are watching Multicultural Civic Platform. According to the Government of Canada, healthy eating is a key part of aging well. It is a way for you to stay healthy and strong, which is important to maintain your independence and quality of life. The nonprofit organization Meals on Wheels helps seniors and people in the Winnipeg area who are experiencing mobility difficulties, chronic disease, or unable to obtain grocery and prepare nutritious meal. Today we have Rhonda Gardner, the Executive Director at Meals on Wheels of Winnipeg, to learn more about the program and how the organization helps improve the quality of life of these people. Thank you, Rhonda, for having us.
Good morning, Zuher. It's so nice to meet you. We've spoken over the phone and your program sounds wonderful, and it's definitely an asset to the city of Winnipeg. We're blessed to have many immigrants in this city, and I appreciate our cultural diversity.
So my first question is, what is a portrait of your client?
The portrait of our clients, I can't say there's one particular portrait. We serve a variety of clients. We have between 400 to 500 clients. So we have clients that are having economic hardships. We have clients that are unable to prepare meals for themselves. We have clients with physical or mental health issues. So we don't have a typical client. Our basic program is that we are able to supply meals to a diverse background of Winnipeg citizens. We have clients in their 20s and we have clients in their hundreds. So it's a real mixture, a cross-section of the city of Winnipeg.
Why is this services needed in Winnipeg, and how many clients do you have in Manitoba?
So Meals on Wheels Winnipeg is only responsible for the city of Winnipeg. We do not look after any other Meals on Wheels programs in the province of Manitoba. So small communities in the province of Manitoba may provide a similar service, but it might be run through a church or a community center or through a hospital. Why people in Winnipeg need our service is because they need access to good nutrition, and that's the reason they would join our service. We served approximately 168,000 meals last year within the city, and that's all done by volunteers.
Hey guys, how's it going? Not too bad, not too bad.
Okay, Robbie, we're doing Route 10 today, the 18 meals, but we need to make sure are in the cooler.
It's got a ball tire here, but get used to it.
It's all burning rubber, hey?
A follow-up question, tell me more about your volunteer.
So Meals on Wheels in Winnipeg would not be able to function if it were not for our volunteers. Each day we use approximately 30 volunteers, Monday through Friday, and then we also have volunteers that are needed on the weekends. There is some food delivery in a very limited area on Saturday and Sunday. We have approximately 328 volunteers, but we're always short of volunteers. We are asking a lot of our volunteers. They're using their cars, they're paying for gas, they're paying for maintenance, they're driving on our terrible roads. and through construction, and we're asking for their personal time. So these are very, very generous people, and they're the reason Meals on Wheels is as successful as it is. All Meals on Wheels programs throughout the world rely on volunteers to deliver the meals. So a volunteer would go to one of our 9 hospitals or 2 different nursing homes that we provide food from. They would pick the food up and then they would deliver it to the clients. And we have a maximum of 15 clients per route. The meals that they would be delivering are hot meals, which is soup, an entree, and a dessert, and a bag supper if the client chooses to purchase a bag supper, which is sandwiches and a dessert and beverage. It takes between 1.5 to 2 hours to deliver the meals. They pick the meals and the equipment up from the facility, deliver the meals, and then they have to return it. So in order to help our volunteers, we offer an honorarium. So for every route that a volunteer delivers, we give them a $7 honorarium, and we issue those 4 times a year.
What else is Meals on Wheels doing to help physically challenged people to live independently?
Well, I think just by us being able to bring nutrition to them, to have the meals, and they do not have to rely on other people to go grocery shopping for them, or if they do, they need a minimal amount of groceries. But basically, we're providing nutrition, but more importantly, our volunteers are checking in on our clients to make sure that their well-being is being looked after. It's only a brief visit. The client may open the door, our volunteers will say hello, but just by doing that, our volunteers are reducing the social isolation and making sure that the clients are okay. And if they find that a client is in distress of some sort, they'll call our office and we will either call one of their contacts or dispatch 911 if we have to. Thankfully, that doesn't happen very often, but I say that it's the volunteers that make this program work and that separates us from a frozen food section in a grocery store where you could just buy a meal and reheat it. It's that human contact and that reduction of social isolation that is probably the most important part of Meals on Wheels.
How COVID impacted your services and the Winnipeg community?
Well, we are an essential service, so we were open all the way through COVID delivering meals. The biggest impact was my making sure that our volunteers were safe and following protocols. So we provided them with masks, hand sanitizers. Instead of handing the meals to the clients, we purchased grocery bags, so the volunteers would place the meals in the grocery bags and just hang it on the volunteer's door. The volunteers could not have any contact with our clients. You know, we can't mandate people to have vaccinations. We don't know, you know, what our clients' status is, whether or not they had COVID. We can't mandate the volunteers either to have vaccinations, so we had to be extremely, extremely cautious. The biggest impact of COVID is that we lost probably 100 volunteers that we haven't come back yet. So we're struggling to build up our volunteer base again. The Free Press did an article at the beginning of COVID, you know, wondering about the impact on our program. And we had well over 200 applications at the onset of COVID for people that were not going to work, and they were more than willing to deliver meals for us. As COVID progressed and people started going back to work, our volunteer levels dropped, and some volunteers have not come back and will not be coming back.
How do members of the general community join your programs to make positive impact?
Well, if you'd like to volunteer, you can visit our website at www.mealswinnipeg.com, and there's a volunteer application form. You can also apply through Volunteer Manitoba. We have an ad. Those applications come to me. Our volunteer coordinator will then bring in a volunteer and we'll interview them, and we will do reference checks. We'll provide an orientation, and we'll go over the process of delivering meals. And we always try, and we do accommodate our volunteer schedules. So if you'd like to volunteer every week, that's fantastic. If you can only volunteer twice a month, we're grateful to have them volunteer twice a month as well. And we try and accommodate the volunteers so that they're picking up and delivering the meals from an area where that's closest to where they reside to cut down on the travel.
What are the challenges for Meals on Wheels?
Our biggest challenge is volunteer retention and getting volunteers. It's always been like that for Meals on Wheels, and like all other charitable organizations that rely on volunteers, you know, we're all looking to attract volunteers, but we're all looking at the same volunteer pool. So really the biggest challenge for Meals on Wheels is our volunteers. We'd close the doors without them. We wouldn't be able to function. It would cost us approximately $200,000 a year if we had to pay for delivery. And that cost would have to be obviously be passed on to the client, and we can't do that. We're a low-cost meal provider. We're part of the healthcare system. Some people cannot be discharged from the hospital unless our services are in place. So the biggest challenge is the volunteers and making sure that those meals get out.
So is the weather count as a challenge for Meal on Wheels? Like we have a construction season in summer and a harsh winter. Is it count as a challenge for Meals on Wheels?
So we have a lot of our volunteers are retired and they head south for the winter. So in the winter we're scrambling for volunteers as well. In the summer we have beautiful summers and our volunteers go out to the lake. So that's a problem as well. The construction, we've never had volunteers stop because of our terrible streets, which never seem to get better and are always under construction. In winter when we have, you know, a storm and the streets are bad, we encourage our volunteers that if they feel unsafe driving, they should stay home, and we'll find another way to get the meals to the clients. So that sometimes can be a deterrent too. But my understanding is that Meals on Wheels has only canceled delivery service once in the 50 some odd years that we've been here.
So now can we ask you about historically how Meals on Wheels started and for how long it's serving the community?
So Meals on Wheels started in the 1920s. It was the same year that we had the first Grey Cup in football, and it was a group of churches that got together and they were providing clothing, food assistance, furniture to new immigrants and to also veterans returning from war. And they started doing meal service. And then in the early 1960s, the government asked to try this. It was called home meal delivery service, and that was when Meals on Wheels started. So we were incorporated in 1962, and the actual Meals on Wheels started in 1964. So we've been delivering meals since 1964.
We're living here in a very diverse city, so we serve some Muslim clients, some Indian clients. Some people they need halal food. Some other than this people they need like vegetarian food. How Meals on Wheels help all these diverse communities in Winnipeg?
So for halal patients or halal clients, they would get kosher meals. So they can get them through us, or they can get kosher meals through Gwen Sector. They provide kosher meals. We do offer vegetarian and vegan choices, so that's always available as well. For halal, you know, if they didn't want meat, we could send them fish as an alternate or a vegetarian. We have a great, as I said, diverse community, but honestly, we haven't had the requests to make that more specific to suit the different ethnic backgrounds. So it would be very basic in trying to help them.
My last question, what is your advice to the public in Winnipeg to help seniors in the future?
You know, I think if your family or your friend, maybe your next door neighbor, and you see that a senior citizen is having trouble preparing meals or getting the groceries for meals, that you should encourage them to call us because our meals are very low cost, and start the service. And that would increase your nutrition, and it would increase your social, again, decrease your social isolation. And it also gives your family and friends, you know, some confidence knowing that they're being checked in on every day or 3 times a week. So I think if you see someone in need, you should recommend for them to call us and find out about the program, or they maybe need to call their senior citizens family and say, I think someone needs help, and can you look into that? That would be my my solution, or my answer for that.
Thank you, Rhonda. It was a pleasure meeting you. I wish for your organization all the success.
Thank you. The same to you. Good luck with your organization as well.
Tasks that are simple for someone may be difficult for others. Those who struggle to prepare their own meals here in Winnipeg can reach out to Meals on Wheels for their services. If you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe, and wait for a new episode from Civic Platform.